We are entering deep and dark waters of SHTF. Well, hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. We're off to a big start. It is Monday, and I love Mondays. No, I don't love Mondays, but I tell you what, we don't have any choice. It doesn't matter whether you think you're going to wake up to a free America or to SHTF. You get what you get, and folks, we are getting it. I said, hey, look, shit is going to hit the fan. We've been talking about it for years. We slowly worked up to it. Inch by inch, we finally got there. We pronounced it. But wait, there's more, right? And I warned everyone, I said, folks, shit is going to hit the fan, and it's going to last a long time, right? That was the second part of this thing that a lot of people kind of forgot. They're like, okay, shit's going to hit the fan, and then what, right? They just figure, I guess you wake up the next day and everything's just fine. That's not how it works, folks. Shit hits the fan, and then you suffer, and you suffer some more, and it is coming. I want to use an example. We'll do some general discussion. We'll go about our lives, and we're going to suffer through this, folks. Now, I chose something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is the price of energy. Oh, it's near and dear to my heart because we need energy. Energy is required for modern life. Not just for you and me, but even for the elites, the government, the super rich. They need energy too. So let's look what's going on. Well, I love those Joe Biden stickers where he's kind of pointing and he says, I did that. And people are putting these fucking stickers on gas pumps. They're putting them in grocery stores. I love it. Because this is the Democrats who are controlled by the power elite. The mega corporations, the mega banks, they control this puppet in the White House. Why did they hate Trump? Not because he's an evil guy, not because he's doing anything as dastardly as any other politician has never done, right? They're not picking on Trump because of that. They picked on him because they couldn't control him, folks. He had his own thinking, his own brand of thinking, the Trump way. Well, Biden doesn't think for himself now, does he? Right? He is a puppet's puppet, look at the strings on me, and they just work him to death. That's why they hated Trump, folks, because they couldn't control him. Not because he was the next coming of Almighty God or something. But anyways, we've got a controlled puppet in the White House. What was the first thing he did? The very first. What was the first thing he did? Did he pronounce first thing, day one, that parents are terrorists? No, he saved that one. The very first thing he did was cancel the Keystone Pipeline. And I said to myself, look the fuck out. Now, shit had already hit the fan under President Trump with the announcement of Cerveza Bug. But when Biden came in, the very first thing he attacked was the Keystone Pipeline. That is American energy supply. He killed thousands and thousands of jobs. He damaged hundreds of thousands of families, their income, their lives, their businesses. He ruined decades of work that was put into getting this pipeline in place. He messed up other United States of America energy projects. He canceled them, interrupted them, restricted them, etc. Just a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't 2 weeks ago, where someone from the Biden administration said their goal was to bankrupt oil companies, the energy industry. Folks, the reason they're doing that is not because the rich don't like driving their fancy cars or flying their fancy planes. They love their toys. Don't worry, there will always be enough energy for the super elite. But they want you cruising through a rainstorm on an electric skateboard. That's what they want you to drive to work on. You bet, folks. They want you doing that. Now, that's not such a big deal. I guess if you live in a paradise like maybe Hawaii or down in the comfort of Key West. But I think that if you're in the mountainous region of the Colorados. You're not going to like driving around on an electric skateboard in an ice storm. No, but they don't care about you. That's the point of this. Shit has hit the fan, and it's going to keep going. It is not going to end fast. Here is your example. This is a Gateway Pundit article. It says, Biden effect. Gas prices in California reach all-time high record of $4.68 per gallon. Now, I've got the article right here in front of me, but I've got something even better. But wait, there's more. This is a picture, folks, from one of you, a Prepared Mind subscriber. It's a Chevron gas station in California. See that? $4.99, $5.19, $5.29, and $4.99 for diesel. That right there is a picture of a real California gas station. While they're talking nationally about $4.68 per gallon, maybe it's some kind of average, it's over $5, folks. This is not just an all-time high. This beats the Obama all-time high, where I almost paid $5 a gallon for a gallon of diesel. Biden has beat it. Folks, if you think it's over, ho, 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 it has barely begun. We've only been in SHTF for 18 months. What did I say? How long did I say it was going to last? I was thinking, I said, oh yeah, a decade at least of us, me and you, Americans, patriots, having to suffer in SHTF. Economic depression, just off the charts government authoritarianism, shortages of food, water, energy, meaning fuel, gas, supplies, everything. Totalitarian government, authoritarian government, your neighbors turning on you. We talked about the violence that's coming. Folks, right now, let's see, if people think like you and me, they're a friend. If people don't think like us, what do they say? They say, oh, yeah, we're going to burn Kenosha. We're going to burn New York City. We're going to snitch on you. We're going to get people to come after you. Kind of like the father of a school board member in Arizona who has lists and pictures of people, parents. They're making lists. These are your neighbors, folks. You may think they're decent. You may think they're nice, but they hate you. There are people in your world that hate you, that want to see you harmed. There are people out there who are willing to do the harm, kind of like the NBC cameraman, award-winning camera operator, who threatened federal representative sent from the state of Florida, Matt Gaetz, to Washington, D.C. This guy threatened him. He said, hey, there's a contract out on you, and I'm taking the job. There's not only people willing to snitch on you, rat you out, provide your information to others. There's people lining up to hurt you. It is only begun. I said and have said since December of 2013, get prepared. I have said food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Get prepared. Now, I don't know anybody that has 10 years worth of food stacked up in their closet. I said it would be good to have a year's worth of food to get through the bad times. Will it be a 1 week stretch where you can't get food? A 2 week, a 4 week? Could it even be a few months? The potential is yes. If we go without food being delivered to stores, grown in farms, stopped altogether, we know that the entire planet will fall apart. If you can't get it right for a year, the planet's done. Right? We're going back to cart, if we're lucky, with a horse, if you can find one that hasn't been eaten. Cart and horse. Oh, we'll still have the wheel, folks. And those of us who are alive will go, you remember when we had these things called automobiles? Yeah, there's one over there, rusting away because the steel was so cheap that the car didn't make it 10 years. Yeah. I'm referring to that government subcontractor who was certifying the military's steel for submarines and said, oh yeah, it meets approval. Well, he's taken money for accepting substandard steel on what, nuclear submarines? Oh, no big deal. What the hell? Folks, just wait. Shit is the fan has barely begun. I did want to focus on inflation because inflation hit in the 1970s. We almost had SHTF in the 1970s when they closed the gold window, took us off the gold standard. Good old tricky Dick Nixon put in price controls. Remember, I don't know if you remember that. You got to be a little older, my age or older, to remember the price controls. I remember my parents talking about it. I remember reading about it and seeing it in the news as a young child, and then as an educated younger child. I've always paid attention to this stuff. I remember price controls, 15% inflation. Well, folks, gas has gone up. When I got to where I'm at right in this particular location, gas was $1.90 to $2.10, depending on where you're at. I know that's a big difference. It just depends on where you're at, right? Now it's $3.50, and I'm in the South, not California, not where this picture came from. California. This is the Gold Country foothills, and it is right off of Felton Empire Road. Wherever Felton Empire Road is where that $5.29 premium Chevron fuel is. It's gone up more than 15%. But see, I haven't heard old General G. Biden talk about price controls. No. What they've talked about is bankrupting the energy industry. Yeah, just a couple weeks ago, a big shot out of the Biden administration says, yeah, our goal, bankrupt the oil industry. Unbelievable. Higher energy costs. Now, across the USA, I guess the average is prices of oil have surged 65% and more during Biden's first year, folks. The first year. Shit at the fan. Biden gets in office. Energy prices, oil prices up 65%. Food has gone up 20%, 50%, 100%, depending on what you're talking about and where you live. Unbelievable, folks. It is truly unbelievable. The average fuel price is $3.42 a gallon. Average national $3.42. It's right about, well, I guess the cost I'm paying. But California's a lot more. I wonder why. They have a lot of actual oil refineries in California. Could it be the taxes there? Yeah, California has additional fuel taxes on top of the federal taxes. Don't worry, though, none of that goes to taking care of the roads in California, even though they passed a referendum in the state of California saying the government shall take that money from the road tax and use it only for roads. When you're out in California next time, go ahead and do me a favor and travel along one of the roads and tell me what kind of condition you think they're in. Unbelievable where this is going. But wait, it has barely begun. Let's get back to that. Shit at the fan has barely begun. Energy prices through the roof. They want to destroy and bankrupt the oil and energy industry. What does that do to you? You think you have a car? You think you're going to drive it somewhere? How are you going to afford it? If it's even available. Energy. One of the main tenets of a free people is the ability to travel where you wish. Travel, car, train, plane. What do you think is going to happen to the cost of tickets on anything other than, well, on anything? Not just your own vehicle, but a bus, Greyhound, Travelways, whatever the hell the bus companies are called. Expensive, right? Train, going to be more expensive. They run on diesel if they're not electric already. Everything is going up. It's going to be so restrictive because of the expense of it that people won't travel. You're no longer a free people the way we were. We may not be able to travel, folks, because it has barely begun. But let's talk about cerveza bug another time. Unbelievable where this is going. Unbelievable. The ability to travel also is the ability to get products because they have to be delivered. I mean, seriously, are they gonna bring steaks to market on horseback? They're gonna drag them on a sled behind oxen? Your food prices are going to continue to go up. Okay, done. Cost of goods, all goods. What do we have? Let's see, food, water. Let's see, transporting water. It takes energy to pump water, and that comes by electricity. Electricity is largely created using fossil fuels, coal and natural gas. Once again, energy. They want to bankrupt energy, which is oil, natural gas, and coal. They have stated this, folks. They have basically come out and say they want to destroy that. Where is the energy going to come to pump your water, to grow your food, deliver your food, you to go get the food, you to travel to your job? The Biden effect, folks, is the Great Reset. And in the New World Order saying you are a peasant, you are stuck where you're at, and you'll only travel if we allow you, and you have saved enough of your precious money above and beyond the expense of buying expensive food and expensive rent and expensive clothes. Maybe if you got something left, you can afford to travel a couple of miles. You're locked down, folks. You're locked down with inflation. But here, you know, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Let's see, food going to cost more. Water going to cost more. Your shelter, inflation, going to cost more because they're printing the ever-loving shit out of the dollar. Yeah, medicine has to be made, and it, folks, a lot of medicines they have their basis, their foundation in oil, believe it or not. I touched on this again in the zoo last night, but in the past I've said, hey, understand pharmaceuticals, a lot of those components come from the oil industry, the oil and chemical industry. You break down oil, you get chemicals. Chemicals are used to make pharmaceuticals. And of course, our good buddy known as self-defense, right? Self-defense requires, well, mined minerals, lead, copper, brass. It requires components like a primer has a tiny amount of explosive in it that ignites the nitrocellulose. Nitrocellulose is the smokeless gunpowder that's used today. Nitro, there's another petroleum product. I guess if we get rid of all the oil, we won't have the components for your medicine. We won't have the components for your fuel, your world that you live in. Don't worry. I've told you and warned you about neo-feudalism, so we're all set. The whole country has woken up and said, hey, let's start farming our own vegetables. Get those sprouts in the window and start making your own salads. Get some chickens and some rabbits, you've got your own meat. Start your own fish farm in a pond you dug in your backyard, and the answer is no, John. No fucking way, that didn't happen. It's not only did they not hear me, and if they had, they wouldn't have believed me, but would they have the energy and time and resources to actually do anything that we're talking about? Very few of us have actually become preppers to the extent that we can survive any length of time through any great calamity. Well, it's going to get calamitous, folks. It's going to get calamitous. And I think that our next good opportunity to look into that is going to be this thing called the Kenosha Rittenhouse jury verdict. We're going to see if Kenosha gets ignited. We're going to see what their willingness in Minnesota is to go out on a cold, late fall night and trash the town. Well, I know what. Why don't they just set fire to everything to stay warm? That'll make it good. Yeah, you bet, folks. Why don't they just start burning businesses like they did in 2020? That'll keep them warm on these ever so chilly late fall evenings. It can happen, folks. It's gonna happen. Just wait. Shit hits the fan is gonna get worse. Are you prepared? Literally, folks. It's go time. for being prepared. And at some point, it'll be go time for us to defend ourselves. How are police cars going to be able to get to your place if fuel is $10 a gallon? My prediction, by the end of next year, $10 premium gas. Next year, folks, by this time next year, the end of 2022 will be $10 premium gas. They'll keep regular at $9.99. Won't that be a big to us? Yeah, police won't respond. In order to get that gas, they got to tax you. If you don't have a job or extra money, how are you going to pay the taxes to put the fuel in the cop cars so they can decide if your crime is bad enough to come out? Remember, in Los Angeles right now, they're already telling you, if you have a home invasion, if you're being robbed, raped, or murdered, just comply with the criminals. Literally, folks, they said comply with robbers. If you're being robbed, don't be confrontational. Comply with their demands. Los Angeles, comply with robbers. Do as they say. Don't think that you can fight your way out of it. Don't try and defend yourself. And certainly don't expect the police to show up and do anything about it. You think they're going to show up in a year as they shut down police, as they defund them, as the tax rolls get even worse? As the government says, you know what, we keep printing money, the inflation is going to go out of control even worse. So let's try and fix our problems now. Let's slow down the SHTF. It'll be too late. But this does satisfy, and this does suit the uber rich. Do you think Bill Gates gives a fuck if his jet fuel costs $5 a gallon or 50? Not really. He's got enough money, folks. He can burn it in his house to keep his mansion warm, and he would never, ever run out of cash. He could burn $100 bills to keep his house warm, folks, and he would never, ever run out of cash. Think about it. Huge house, burning stacks of cash, never a problem. They don't care. What they care about is controlling you, damaging you, destroying us, and them taking charge of the world. So they are the power elite. They're sick, folks. Being billionaires wasn't good enough. They have to take everything from you and control everything. And do you think that'll satisfy them? It didn't satisfy Caligula. It didn't satisfy the Caesars of Rome, who took their perversions even further, pitting people to the death in gladiator, in animal versus human spectacles to keep the people preoccupied. Bread and circus, folks, for you, it'll be bugs and circus. That's right. They want to feed you bugs. It's coming. Get prepared. Chance favors, folks. You know it. You know it. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube version of The Prepared Mind. I'd like to see you over at Patreon at The Prepared Mind. In either case, send the video links for this video to people who need to get prepared, who better do something, right? Because it has just begun. Semper Fi. Godspeed to you all.